Konnichiwa again, all you Nissan Skyline fans. So we have a nice one today, and I think like a lot of collectors, I just buy stuff that looks cool, and then by doing these videos, I actually learn a lot about these vehicles in real life. Like I was totally wrong about this car when I bought it. I just assumed this was a classic Nissan Skyline racing car. This is actually not a classic Skyline racing car. Technically it is, the body of it is, the car itself is, but I don't think this actually raced back in the 1970s or 60s when this car was out. This is actually owned by the son of the owner of Liberty Walk, Liberty Walk of the over-fendering fame. So Wataru Kato is the founder of Liberty Walk, and he modified all these cars back in the day, and still now he modifies cars today, including supercars, like Italian ones. But his son is named Hayuma, and so if you see this nameplate, that's the son of the founder of Liberty Walk. So this is his car. I don't know if that's him in this photograph. I found this off Speed Hunters, but there's the car sitting in the garage of Liberty Walk's building there. So that's where I was wrong. I just thought this was a classic racing car, but I think it's actually a classic racing car. Maybe it was made after the fact. But I don't know the real story. If anyone knows the real story of this car, did Liberty Walk just buy an old Hakosuka and then paint it to look like a classic racing car? Or did they actually buy a classic racing car? I don't know the answer. Okay, so that tape was a little annoying, but it kept the thing from falling apart. The cover was very loose though without the tape, so be mindful of that. This is officially licensed. Let's just get back to this in case you guys are new to collecting. So yeah, there you go. It's officially licensed, and this is the actual name and part number of this exact livery, made in China. This nice little card there. That's a nice one actually. I like that. That might be the first one I want to keep. Most of these go in the trash. I don't have room to keep packaging. There's some social media QR codes if you want to see their website and all that stuff. So Fuelme makes awesome models. So far I've never been let down by this brand, but if you look at the pricing of these things, you'll understand why they should be awesome. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at these photographs here. Let's see if I can focus between the two. Pretty good. Looking over this model here, it does have photo etched wiper blades. I'm debating if I should take it off the stand. I don't think there's going to be much to see, but I don't see anything sticking out like antennae or tow hooks, which have fallen off in the past. 2 screws. Alright. So, one thing, I was looking at this. I bought this locally. You see this rear tire? It is so jammed up in that fender. I also feel like the axle center isn't centered with the fender wheel well, so I kind of want to take it apart just to see if I could move that axle backwards and maybe release a little bit of the tension on this tire. Let's see how much is flatted out. Hold this model. So it's got plastic washers to space it off this acrylic base. The acrylic base is glued. That's what that is acrylic glue there. And then yes, you have a nice photo etched base here. Fuelme models, Liberty Walk, and this is called the Charasuka. And that's the owner, and it's a 2-door, and this is limited to around 700 pieces. Alright. Very long screws going into that resin body. This is a plastic body. It's not, I don't think Fuelme makes die-cast metal bodies. They only deal with plastic because plastic is better for details. Okay, well, let's see here. Let's start with the side view. Very light, being plastic again. So the wheels, they seem to have photo etched centers, and they're spaced off from the back end of that wheel. What is a little odd to me is, why wouldn't they put like a brake back behind Like they could have even molded it into the wheel, but it's just kind of weird how that the whole thing is floating like that. There's no thickness to it because it's metal. And then just that opening of the hole is weird in the middle as well, because I'm looking at that front photograph and there's clearly like an aluminum center cap on that car. So I feel these wheels could have used at least a center cap instead of just an open hole. So one sad thing about most resin models is they usually use decals. You can see the waviness of this decal, whereas the paint itself is extremely smooth. So, you know, there's a chance this is going to crack or fall off in the future. Alright, but I gotta say they are applied nicely. This door handle is a separate metal piece. This is a photo etched piece of metal that's glued on there, so that's pretty interesting. The windows are super thin, like packaging type of plastic, so you can see right through it to the other side. And then the molding also is black painted photo etched metal glued onto that surface, so some dimensionality there. This seems to have separate mirrors with separate reflectors in them. And then this front lip looks like it's a separate piece because the paint separation is perfect. There's a little bit of a gap there. So very cool headlights. You know, they have all the striation of a real glass headlight cover. You know, unlike today's modern headlights, which are plastic. This would be glass, halogen, I assume. And then this actually has clear plastic turn signals here, and they are clear on the real car on that photograph. This oil cooler is black on the photograph, and then you got silver lines running in there. Looks pretty good. There's a little bit of black paint here. It seems to be, I can't tell if that's recessed. I feel something. It actually feels like it's coming out. Okay, so decal work again up here. You can see the depth of the headlights, you know, or the depth of the grille, how far back it is back there. So that's nice. And as nicely as this decal is applied, it has the waviness of it that I also don't really like. You know, if this was clear coated on top of the decal, then it would be perfectly fine. But, you know, they didn't want to go through that extra step of painting something twice. Yeah, so you see the air pockets here. They didn't get the decal all the way into all these recesses. So that's too bad. And also, I don't even think it's in this recess here. No, so could have been better. Alright, so the wiper blades. Yeah, really thin pieces of metal. And I wouldn't doubt that they're bent 90 degrees perpendicular to the windshield. I just can't tell. I also don't know why this arm is sticking this far out here. When I look at the real car, I don't even see windshield wiper blades. I'm pretty sure the real car doesn't even run them, or they're recessed behind this panel. So it might not have even been necessary to add these. Okay, decal up here again. So the roof, yeah, big decal, and then we have Ayuma's name up here. There's a roll cage, the decal here, but again, it's not going into that crease so much. Not cool. Alright, I think this is the fuel filler. Maybe there's a bump for the lock or something. This wing must be a separate piece. I will say this wing is nice. I don't see like the plastic sprue, like where it was torn off of a molding sprue. Maybe right, no, I don't know. It's perfectly smooth. It's actually been clear coated. It's not raw plastic. I'm not sure what these protrusions are. Oh, I see. Looking at the rear photograph, it's some sort of passive vent. It must suck air out of the, you know, cabin. Okay, so again, decal. And then nice to see a license plate. It is the real license plate number, looking at the rear photograph, so that matches up. And then we have some nice plastic taillights. And then this car has no rear bumper. I guess that's where the rear bumper should mount. And then no exhaust tip here because it's coming out the side. So going to the bottom now. We have some funky treads here. They look pretty nice to me. And then we have a red exhaust muffler with really tiny recessed tips, so that's pretty cool. So it's 2 screws holding it together, and then these are the screws holding it to the base. This is all plastic. I'm gonna guess most people don't take these off the stands, but even so, it would have been nice to maybe, why wouldn't they mold in Fuelme in what the car is somewhere on here? Would have been nice, right? Just for future generations to know what they have if they buy it used off eBay without the original packaging. Well, now I'm just looking at the wheels here, and I don't think I can move them at all. I think these are just there. I don't even know if there's an axle running through here. Maybe not. Could just be glued on for all I know. Alright, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Naturally, it will not roll, but that doesn't bother me. Alright, so unfortunately, it's a black interior, so it's pretty hard to see the details. Let me get a flashlight. I do see a rear view mirror hanging there. Well, that is pretty nice. Some nice molded details on that dashboard. Let's see. I'm going to flip the car around later. The roll cage is pretty thin. The seats, nice ribbing detail. It's got the 2 rear seats as well. E-brake, the shifter is nice and 3-dimensional. It's not just a stock. Alright, let's flip this around and maybe we can get a better view of the dashboard now. One thing I do question is the angle of that steering wheel. It does seem a little bit too horizontal. Maybe that's the way classic cars were in Japan back then. So you can see a rev meter. That's probably a decal. Yeah, and a speedometer. 2 gauges there. I can't go any further in. This is 4 times magnification. That's the best my phone will do. I wonder if there's... I'm looking for gas pedals and stuff. I have seen them on certain brands. Nope, too dark in there. The windows are so shallow, it's really hard to even get a flashlight in there. Well, I don't see any, but okay. Anyways, pretty nice interior. You know, the real car is black interior with a yellow roll cage, so it's realistic, I guess. Alright, well, it's time to let this thing spin with some other models as compared to. I love this car, so I have a couple other brands of this car. I was quite happy with all of them, but, you know, I like Fuelme, so I figured I'd give this a chance, and I love this car in real life. I think I was really just sold on the headlights, how they have that texture to them. Okay, so a couple other LBWK cars. These are both by Aoshima. They're part of the Grachan collections. Here we have one with some rectangular taillights, and these have some alloy plates in the wheels that glued in there. This one is just bone stock because it's a special chase version. This one I also repainted the interior. Most Aoshima Grachans come with a black interior. I think actually all of them come with a black interior, but they have screwed together bases, so you know, I like to repaint them. But again, this being a chase version, I didn't want to mess with it. So this one has the regular tail lamps, and then this has some sort of LBWK tail lamps. Yeah. So these are still great. You can buy these off eBay and all that stuff. They're fantastic. I like them. No license plates though. You know, just a blank one there. This one has none at all. But at least they have the oil coolers. But you'll see the difference in the headlights. You know, these are just flat plastic headlights, no textures. And then the detail behind the plastic headlight is just silver paint. It looks a little amateur hour to me. You know, just having a silver backing like that. But they're much less expensive, so I can understand. I'm going to pull out 2 race cars by Kyosho. So these are what I thought I was buying in resin form. These are actual race cars that raced in the 60s and 70s. You know, and these are the cars that helped build the legend of Godzilla. You know, Skyline GTRs being such successful sports cars. So that's what I thought this was, and so that's what I'm questioning. Is this just a brand new car with an old livery painted on it? Or is it actually a historic race car that they just bought and put Hyuma's name on it? I don't know. So interesting that these two Kyoshos are actually two different castings. I have a comparison video or somewhere if you look these up in my history. This one has separate plastic windshield wipers, this does not. The oil coolers are different. The blue one has a chin spoiler, the green one does not. It's also got a black strap on the back, the green one does not. Even the wheels, I think, are slightly different. Although they're both Watanabe F8s, I think this is a larger diameter. That looks like it's smaller. So it's interesting that Kyosho would update their molds, but this is a really historic car in Japan, I imagine. It's probably like the first Corvette, you know, for Japanese people. So, well, the first sporting Corvette for Japanese people, because the first Corvette was pretty lame. Let's face it. Okay. Alright, well, Fuelme has not let me down again. This is still fantastic. No quality control problems. The only nitpicks would be the fact that the decals, you know, just by nature, decals are not very good. They have air pockets behind them, and sadly, I think in long term they're going to crack or fall off because they're not underneath a clear coat. And then the other criticism would be the wheels, how they're missing center caps. That would have been nice, and also it would have been nice to have black paint behind that gold wheel surface, because look at the photograph behind, it's black back there, right? But anyways, I'm still going to continue to collect different castings from Fuelme. It's a great brand, but unfortunately they're not inexpensive. You can, again, look it up on eBay. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you the next time around. Bye.